New Orleans, I looked into some of the crime stats, and just last year there were hundreds of murders in the city, giving it the highest homicide rate in America. And on top of that, thousands of other crimes reported make this city one of the most crime-ridden cities in the country. So I decided to go on a walk through some sketchy neighborhoods at night. At first glance, even the graffiti on the walls had some aesthetic to it, which gives credit to New Orleans' artistic history, being the jazz capital of the world. Houses covered in decorations,
make up your mind,
art on the buildings, and these witchcraft-looking shrines that I'll talk about later. This place is full of character and crime. As I walked through the streets, the narrow paths between the buildings added a sense of mystery. What's down there? And the whole area is so old. What's happened here? The more time I spent walking these streets, the more I felt a sense of magic in the air. Maybe it's because I wasn't mugged yet, or maybe it was something else. But in case it was the mugging part, I decided to get back to some busier streets in what's known as the French Quarter, home of the infamous Bourbon Street, the epicenter of Mardi Gras. But that wasn't happening, it was Christmas time. Now, I'm not a big party guy, so I headed right past Bourbon Street and to the pier to take in the serene atmosphere of the streetlights reflecting on the calm waters of the Mississippi River. But all this chill was making me hungry. Back in the corridors of the French Quarter is a courtyard tucked away from the busy streets, housing a small restaurant where family and friends were gathered enjoying the evening together. I even had the pleasure of a conversation with a couple visiting from Korea. Overall, New Orleans at night passes the vibe check. So I called it a night and headed back to get some rest at my hotel with a functional carousel bar in the lobby and a tiny fake drawer in my room. After a solid night's rest, it was time to see what the area has in store for early birds. And what better way to start the day than with the famous Café du Monde? Just off Jackson Square is this simple shop that sells what's basically donuts without the holes, covered in powdered sugar, and coffee. Just that, but that's all you need before you head out to the French Market.
Alright guys, I'm here at the French Market.
With the sun shining, a light breeze, and the temperature just right, everyone was out enjoying their Sunday. This here is Louis Armstrong Park, named after the famous jazz trumpet guy who is actually from New Orleans. This strikes a chord with me since I played trumpet back in school. Now it is New Orleans, and you can't avoid Bourbon Street forever, so I finally decided to check it out. The long strip of bars is much more relaxed during the day, but of course there's still plenty of beads, which in case you didn't know, people can quote-unquote earn by flashing people. Now back off of the party street, there are many of these shrine-like settings that after some research seem to in fact be related to the voodoo culture in New Orleans. But I don't know enough about it to speak on the details of these things I found. What I do know is that voodoo in New Orleans isn't inherently bad and often is practiced alongside Catholicism. Originating in West Africa, voodoo has a principle of an eye for an eye. So if someone does something good happens to them. Something bad, you get the idea. So there's much more incentive to do good, which made me feel a bit more comfortable. Because I may not be superstitious, but I am a little stitious. But on another note, what's New Orleans without food? From gumbo to sausage and rice, that this funky place off Bourbon Street happens to have. Served in a literal coffee cup, this was one of the best meals I had here. And what about dessert? Well, this place here has that. It's called Brennan's. And if you've ever heard of Banana Foster, this is where it's from. One of the OG chefs here made it in 1951, and they literally light your banana on fire. Super good. All things considered, New Orleans may be the murder capital of America, but all I found was good food and good vibes. The people there are amazing and friendly, the music is great. This place really is a beautiful city. So let's go for a stroll and see what else we can find.